All right, so I got some pretty explosive news here as the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, who has been completely immersed in this sexual harassment and assault scandal recently, has officially resigned, and it's going to take effect in 14 days. So I'm going to play you this video here of basically his announcement of his resignation, and he doesn't really take responsibility for his actions. He kind of even tries to portray himself as like some sort of hero in this entire story, but I'm going to play you this clip, and then we're going to get into the actual details of why he is resigning right now, and some of the other stuff that he could have resigned over and didn't, aside from these sexual allegations. So let's go ahead and listen to what he had to say here.
And I think that given the circumstances, the best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing. And therefore, that's what I'll do. Because I work for you. And doing the right thing is doing the right thing for you. Because as we say, it's not about me, it's about we. Kathy Hochul, my lieutenant governor, is smart and competent. This transition must be seamless. We have a lot going on. I'm very worried about the Delta variant, and so should you be. But she can come up to speed quickly, and my resignation will be effective in 14 days. And I think that given this
Right, so there you have it, just a little clip. He did this entire press conference, but I'm not going to play the entire thing. You get the big picture right there. He's giving up the fight. And listen, the main point that I want to hammer home in this initially is he's not resigning right now because he suddenly wants to accept responsibility for the accusations against him. And really, they're not even accusations because there was an investigation and they decided that, yes, he did these things. And we're going to get into exactly what he did. But understand that he's not resigning right now because he feels guilty for his actions and he wants to take responsibility. He's resigning right now because he sees the writing on the wall. He saw that Democrats in New York had the votes necessary to impeach him. It's really that simple. He's not resigning because he wants to take responsibility. He's resigning because he was fearing a successful impeachment attempt against him. So it's not anything, for him to get up on his high horse or pretend as if like, oh, well, it's not about me, it's about we. Dude, you were just on camera the other day putting up a slideshow of examples of how you were kissy and touchy and feely with a bunch of people in order to try to justify your behavior. So it's not that it's about we instead of me. You were making it about you up until you understood the reality that you were going to get impeached if you didn't resign. So that's the actual situation. And so there was this investigation that came out, and the investigation from the New York Attorney General's office found that Mr. Cuomo, 63, sexually harassed 11 women at least, including state employees. He has denied the allegations, and it began in 2020 after several women publicly accused the governor of sexual misconduct, and the report caused many prominent Democrats to turn against Mr. Cuomo. So everybody was lining up against him, including Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, including Joe Biden even was coming out and saying that he should resign. So he saw the writing on the wall. And they continue. His fellow New York Democrats who control the state house had also started the impeachment, the plans to impeach him, and Mr. Cuomo is facing criminal inquiries in several counties as well. So again, it's not some big, bold, brave maneuver on his part to resign here. He knew he was going to get impeached because the entire rest of the Democratic Party was circling the wagons around him. Okay, so he understood the situation. Now, who's going to replace him? He mentioned it in that speech briefly, but Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, I think that's how you pronounce it, will become the first female governor of New York, and the 62-year-old Buffalo native joined the governor's team in 2014, and she praised his resignation as the right thing to do in a statement, adding that she was prepared to lead the state. So listen, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know that much about this person, so we'll have to see how she ends up being a leader temporarily, at least until the next election. But we're going to have to see how this plays out because I don't really know that much about her. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But in addition to the sexual harassment and assault allegations, which, by the way, Andrew Cuomo tries to present this entire situation as if like he's like, oh, I'm just an Italian, this is how we are, smoochy on the cheeks, and I'm gonna wrap my arm around you. He tries to portray it as if it was all like really casual stuff that could be interpreted either way, but that's not what the report was actually talking about in a lot of these cases. There was one example where he literally reached his hand up a woman's blouse without permission and grabbed on her titties. So it's like, dude, this is not just like, oh, you're being slightly handsy-feely for a photo op. That's just straight up sexual assault. So it's not how he has been portraying and trying to talk about this so far. He's trying to make it seem as if like, oh, I'm just Italian, this is how we operate. No, that's not actually the situation. But if the sexual harassment and assault allegations were not enough in and of themselves, well, I mean, this guy wrote a fucking book. Listen, he wrote a book called Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic. This motherfucker, Andrew Cuomo, had the audacity after the nursing home scandal, right? After he took donations, essentially bribes, from nursing home executives to his campaigns, then he turned around, he shoveled COVID positive nursing home patients back into nursing homes, caused excess deaths, then lied about those deaths, and then had the audacity to release a book about lessons in leadership from the COVID-19 pandemic. This motherfucker, who's responsible for maybe thousands of nursing home deaths on his watch, okay, because of the actions that he chose to take on behalf of those nursing home executives who he then gave legal liability protection from or to. So this guy is not a leader by any stretch of the imagination. He should have been forced to resign or been impeached over just the nursing home scandal in and of itself. But finally, he was actually pressured and forced to resign over this sexual harassment stuff instead. So understand the situation again. This is not Andrew Cuomo stepping up to the plate and being some brave leader and understanding the situation. This is him recognizing the writing on the wall and that he was, if he didn't resign in the way that he just did, was going to be impeached. And they might still impeach him even now, right? So I saw a couple of New York state senators who were talking about moving forward with the process of impeachment, even though he resigned, right? Regardless of the fact, because it's just a matter of principle to them and they want to do it. So we'll see if that plays out, how it does. But Governor Cuomo actually being forced to resign here. So, play the crab walk music and see you later, motherfucker, because you don't deserve to be a leader in any state, let alone New York, one of the biggest states in the country, and pretending to be some sort of a leader as you are doing these types of things.